Okay, you guys are asked to do 18-18, so I'll do 1817 as an example. It should be pretty similar. And we've got, I think, the same data that we did before with 1813. So you can download the data, run your regression just like we did, but in this case we make a hypothesis, and our null hypothesis is that there is no autocorrelation, and or the alternative hypothesis then is that there is a correlation, and they've got a d-test or d-stat now that we look up on page 754. And what it tells us is that if we're greater than, the number that we come up with, our statistic is greater than a certain number, then we reject the null hypothesis. If it's less than, then we cannot reject. And if it's in between, then we don't really know, I guess. We say that we can't make a determination. So we look up our d-stat, and again we've got an n of 18 in this case. We're on page 754. K1, we've got one independent variable, so we looking at basically the first column or first two columns. And our upper d-stat is 139, okay, 1.39. The lower one is 1.16, but I don't think we're going to need that. So again, we run our regression analysis, and we come up with this. We've got the observations, we've got our predicted sales, we've got our residuals, standard residuals, which we don't really need, but we just kind of left those in there. Okay. And now, what do we do? Well, we got some calculations that we got to do, and it gets to be kind of interesting. So here's what we do. First, we have to calculate the square of the difference, okay, between the residual and the error, okay, the square of the difference. And in this case it gets to be a little bit weird because we're going to minus a minus. So here's our equation. We just put in, and if we do this once, then we can just copy it down, right? And we come down one level. I'm sorry, I need to start over and come over here and say what we're doing is, because we're kind of forecasting here, we have to bring these residuals down, okay, one level, right, so that our error is on line with the next period. Okay, so really what you do is just take this and you go copy, okay, and you could paste it down one, or a better way to do it would just be to say that this is equal to this, okay, and that basic reference is going to stay the same, so then you can just drag that down. We get that, okay. Then for this particular column, we say that, okay, we want to take our residual minus, our residual here minus our error, okay, and square that. And so in this case we can hit, this is equal to the residual, oops, I'm going to need a parenthesis, so I'll come up here and I'll put a parenthesis in, okay, minus the error, which is actually like adding it in that case, okay, and we want to square it, and so I'm going to just do it this way. It's a little bit easier in this way. I hit that little tenth thing over the 6 with the shift key held, and then squared does that, and I hit enter, and that gives me my answer, okay. And again, I can do that then all the way down to here. I can't do it here because I don't have the residual there, okay. Then I come over here, okay, and in this case all I'm doing is taking my residuals and squaring them, okay. And so I take this particular residual, I go, this is equal to, I'm sorry, just my residual. Again, for simplicity, I'm just going to use the 10th thing and the little square, and I do that, okay, and I drag that one down just to there, okay. Now I just want to total both of these, okay? And so I'm going to underline that, and I'm going to come here, I'm going to hit sum of that, okay, and in this case I'm going to sum all of that, boom, Okay. Now all I have to do is divide this into this, or divide this by that. Okay, so let's just do that. This is equal to this divided by this. Boom, and I get 2.28. Remember, my upper D was 1.39, so I'm greater than that. Okay, so I'm greater than that upper D, and so the null hypothesis is not rejected, right? And the null hypothesis was that there was no autocorrelation. So I do not reject the null hypothesis. That's really all there is to that.